Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 548, Top Hex Grid Games on BGG.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
The Meeple Nation podcast is sponsored by GameToppersLLC.com. Kick yourself over to their website and check out Game Toppers and all of their wonderful accessories that they have. You know, we have 5 toppers between us, and I don't even know how many mats. Plus cup holders, a plethora of cup holders that we utilize almost every game night. We love our Game Toppers. It is an upgrade to every game we play. Check them out. You will love them too. GameToppersLLC.com.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we are the hosts of Meeple Nation. I am Douglas Stewart.
I'm Nathan Howard.
I'm Sierra Holiday.
And I am Andy Holiday.
Fantastic, and we do have a website for you to go check out. If you are at all curious, head on over to meeplenation.com, where you can listen to all of our past episodes, learn more about us, and check out our links to the socials. Also, there is a link to Patreon. We love our patrons, and if that is something you are interested in, follow that link over, become a patron of the show, and help us improve the podcast. Also, we love to hear from our listeners, so drop us a line at meeplenation@gmail.com.
All right, with all the other kids and their pumped up kicks, let's jump on over to our highlight 30s.
Gotta run.
Thank you. So, Andy, while you're running, why don't we have Doug go first?
Okay, that sounds like a great idea. Doug?
Because I really want to hear about Doug's experience.
Mine will be quick because I'm going to be honest, you guys talk way too much about everything Maracaibo and Pirates of Maracaibo. I'm not even kidding. Okay, the number of conversations about Maracaibo and Pirates of Maracaibo that have happened on this podcast are kind of ridiculous. Like,
That's true.
It's a good game. It really is. But my highlight was I did finally get to play Pirates. So at Andy's game night, we did finally get it down. This is definitely my favorite way to play the Maracaibo series. In fact, I don't want to say like Maracaibo's dead, because that's not like I don't think that's a thing. But given the two, I'd play Pirates every single time. Yeah. Right? Like, I mean, it has it. I'm trying to say it's replaced Maracaibo without actually saying that it's replaced Maracaibo. But there's probably not a reason I should beat around the bush. It's basically replaced Maracaibo. Yeah. Pirates of Maracaibo is absolutely fantastic. It gives you all of the same vibes, all of the same goodness of Maracaibo, but it plays much quicker. And the fact that so many of those cards get rotated out, so there's just constantly new stuff to consider as you path your way over to the port.
Which is something regular Maracaibo's kind of missing, right?
Oh, for sure. If you're not familiar with either of these games, you have to understand that the way that Pirates is set up increases replayability by an order of magnitude over regular Maracaibo. And no, it is absolutely a fantastic game. It scratches all the same itches, does all the same stuff, but it's in a much more manageable package. It's a fantastic game. It's really good.
Scratches all the itches and leaves no stitches.
Wow.
Ooh,
nice.
Wow.
You're a rhymer.
All the timer.
You go. All right,
Sierra, what you got?
I doubt that's going to be the last Maracaibo-related conversation on this
you are
podcast.
Absolutely correct.
However,
maybe this episode.
We'll leave it at that for now.
I babysit 3 kids, and I had decided one day to bring a game with me. I picked them up from school. They saw it, and they were like, oh, what's this? What's this? After we'd gotten homework done, I pulled out Lupin Louie, and oh my goodness, this is so much fun to play with a bunch of kids. I haven't played this with little kids before. I've played it with high schoolers. I've played it with adults. I've even played it with my grandma. And it's a different experience with kids who are younger, who are under 10. And I absolutely love it. It's such a fun game. And I love that it plays for so many different ages.
You should play it with grown men, because it's just like playing with 10-year-old kids.
True.
It's like unbelievably true in like such a weird way. I mean, it's sort of like, really? You're grown.
Why are we playing this 30 times in a row?
Come on. Like, what is wrong with you? You know, especially when we take Looping Louie to conventions, because we've 3D printed the extra parts. Normally it plays 4 players, But you can 3D print the parts to turn it into an 8-player experience. Yep. So you get 8 people gathered around the table, and everyone's just hitting that little button to try to protect their discs from being taken out by the plane as it just goes flying around the board. And it's so dumb, but it's so fun. It shouldn't be as fun as it is, but it's great.
That is true. All right. So that leads to my highlight. We've got the chance to play From the Moon, and I'm really glad Nathan taught this because it made me feel less bad when I won.
It gave you permission to decimate.
Well,
I think this is the 4th time this one's been on the highlights.
I know
on the podcast too.
I've decided to put it on the podcast again because I have decided I'm not going to play the cyborgs again unless I'm playing against Richie and Dave.
Yeah, that's probably good advice.
We should set that up.
It might be broken a little bit. I think that I don't know if it's unbalanced because it sure felt like it in that game.
And I've decided, given the way you talk about this game, that I'm just never going to play it with you.
Why?
He doesn't want to have an Arc Nova experience.
Yep.
No, well, if I look at what I've scored in the past on this game, it was right up where everybody else was, except for I played with a race that I'd already played once, and it was my favorite one I'd played, and I don't know what the score was, but it was
a very, very, very big number to a few very, very small numbers.
You had almost 350 points.
No, it was almost 300. I was 296, I think.
Only there was an app that we could
there
use.
Might be. 296 to 120, I think, was the next one, the next highest.
Boy, I bet everyone just had so much fun with that.
We did, actually. Yeah.
Did we?
Mm-hmm. Did we?
I bet that's true.
I think Nathan threatened to call it after we finished, actually.
Yeah. Yep. I get that.
Somebody knew how to use their app. That would make a difference.
Oh, look. I think I know how to use mine.
This is a game that I highly recommend reading the rules for yourself. I struggled when I played this, and it was very frustrating.
Yeah, or just play it once knowing that you are just learning the game and that you will not beat other people who have played it.
So it was 296 to 102 to 120 to 117.
That's why I can't find it. I didn't include it.
Yeah, it helps if you actually log the games, Nathan. You have to actually put data into the app in order for the app to give you data back.
That's okay. I'll give you the scores, but you'll have to give me the scores to your highlight because I forgot to log that one too on the same night. So we were both nailing it.
We'll have a little conversation after we record about how to use BG stats.
That's probably a good idea.
You guys need a little training session.
Yeah, can't believe I didn't record that.
But me decimating everybody in From the Moon was making up for the game we played prior to that, which was a shellacking. I got my butt kicked by everybody else.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. It was nice. It was nice to humble an Andy.
And that game was Nathan's highlight, which was
Gnome Hollow. So this is one that's kind of hesitant to pick up, but got the deluxe components, and so I thought, you know what? Sure, let's do it. And I have no regrets. I just wish it was a 5-player game. That would be nice to include some more people and make it a little bit more accessible for some of those other groups. But Gnome Hollow is all about your gnome. You're trying to create and connect paths, kind of similar to Carcassonne, but fun. Not that Carcassonne is that terrible of a game. It's just aged. And Gnome Hollow takes a nice updated feel to that. You're trying to create your stone paths between mushrooms, and the mushrooms that are on your path when it completes you'll use those mushrooms to exchange them in the market to get some points. It has these cool little magnetic boards that I think are awesome. I always love it when there's a neat little mechanic that just kind of helps. Instead of being a dual layer board, we got these nice little mechanical boards that I don't know if they're cheaper or not, but I thought it was a nice touch.
Yeah, I like the dual layer boards, but I agree. Having the magnets is way better.
Yeah. I mean, when you're dealing with 8 pieces on each board. Look at Maracaibo, which just had to bring up again for you, Doug.
Thanks.
Dual layer boards, because there's a lot of pieces in there. Terraforming Mars was a game that very much needed a dual layer board.
For sure, yeah.
And I go back to those days playing that when it wasn't a dual layer board, and then we got the upgraded plastic pieces that you could pinch your non-dual layer boards in there. The magnet's really cool. Gnome Hollow was a very simple. I thought it was going to actually go a lot faster than it did.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised the length of the game.
Too long.
No, it wasn't too long.
So this is one of those games where I have had to wait for other players to play while I've been waiting to play games. Once at SaltCon and then once the other night at game night.
Yeah.
And it has just gone on and on and on. Now at SaltCon, we just played something else. We just moved on. But the other night was just sort of like...
Well, you guys ended up
it was
playing
painful.
Star Wars deck building game.
Yeah,
and
which
when
is a fine game.
We were just tallying our scores.
Yeah. But you guys had started significantly before I got there.
Yeah. And poor Andy, in Andy's defense to his pathetic score, it was the fourth time I'd explained the rules that night.
Oh, fun.
And so he got a much condensed version.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so maybe that was to his disadvantage.
I don't know. I may have just not played well.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I hate it when that happens, but it's definitely one of those games that I'm already soured on just because of what it's done at game night. You know what I mean? Like just because of that. And it's like
Arc Nova.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those that's like the circumstances have ruined it before I've really given it a fair shake.
Yeah. No, I get that. I've had similar things too. Merchants of the Dark Road.
Merchants of the Dark Road.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Lizard Wizard for Sierra.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But anyways, I thought it was a really good game. I very much enjoyed it. I would play it again.
All right. Gnome Hollow, a game of cool magnets, and that takes a really long time. Awesome.
Takes a really long time.
All right. Nathan, introduce us to what we're talking about today.
We have been doing this top games that we don't own in a mechanic for a while now, and it seems to come up without fail that we're talking about some of the high-ranking games that we don't own, and there's a reason that we don't own them. So to avoid talking about the same games that we don't own, we're going to mix this up a little bit. So I went to BGG, did the scale of games that are ranked from 7 to 10 with 2,000 ratings or more, and came back with a list of 50 games. And I don't know if I run through this list or not. No, I'm not going to run through this list.
No, there's no need.
There's several games on here that we own, and there's several games that we've talked about in the past.
Most of them. Almost all of them we own, actually.
Yeah. A high majority of these games that we own. And so I think going through this list, there's games that maybe talk to, yes, I have interest in this game. Why don't I have interest in this game?
Yeah, so we're just going to kind of pull some games off this list and have a little bit of a conversation.
Yeah.
I'll get us started because one that I actually really would like to try that I think, Andy, you have experience with this one. This is Railways of the World.
I do own this one. In fact, I was just adding it to my list because, yes, I want to play this. I have not played it yet.
So my question is, first, like, how does it use a hex grid? And second, what would be like the standout features of this game and why should we play it? Because this is one that I think I would enjoy. I would like to try this one.
You and me both.
Oh, okay. You own it. You haven't played it.
Correct. This is on my shelf of shame.
Now, is this related to Russian railroads?
No, completely different.
Okay.
This is one that I bought. My goodness. It has been on my shelf of shame for a very long time. Probably...
This isn't the one you picked up at BGG Con, was it?
Oh, no. I've had this on my shelf of shame for I've owned this for probably a decade.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And as highly rated as it is, it's a shame that we haven't gotten to the table. So we really need to. And it looks great. I mean, the gameplay looks, components are great. I don't even think I think I've opened it. I've taken the shrink off. I couldn't even tell you if I have it punched because it's been that long since I've opened it up.
Have you spilled water on it and had to straighten out the pieces and then lost them?
No, that was Massive Darkness.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Cool.
Too soon.
Too soon? Sorry.
Just wondered where you were going with that. Okay, so that's one we really, I think, should get to the table.
I agree. That's on my list of my 5 that I would like to get to the table. It looks awesome.
So I put Twilight Imperium 4 on my story just because I thought it was a funny story, but then I shared it last week. So I don't know if I need to share it again. So I'm going to just go ahead and skip over that. Eclipse Dawn of the Galaxy and Eclipse New Dawn of the Galaxy. These are big, beefy games. I'd love to try these.
I would
so
too.
I could have an opinion on it one way or the other.
This was a standout game for me too on this list for sure. Looks really. Can I say 3 reallys in a row? Is that allowed?
Really, you can.
It looks really good.
I own one of these, and I haven't played it either.
Well, we should fix that.
We need to keep picking games that Andy owns and hasn't played.
I've owned this for
The top 50 of this particular list is basically just Andy's shelf of shame.
yeah, pretty much. So far, yes.
Yeah.
2 for 2.
This is one I definitely don't want to try at 6 players. I think this is one that's going to lean toward boredom between turns, 60 to 200 minutes. And so I'm sure that's a per player time increase.
Yep.
Community says best at 4 or 6. And so I think I'd be willing to try it at 4. And I'm pretty sure, Andy, you probably have the original one
I do.
for the Galaxy.
That is correct.
And
expansions that I haven't played also.
Nice.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yay.
That sounds like something I would do.
It does totally.
Memoir 44. Except for I have played my base copy.
That's
so
true.
Take that.
You're so amazing.
I
You're so
am
much better than
amazing.
me.
Dang straight I am.
One of these games that is on my shelf of shame. So I have this. In fact, I have everything for this, and I just would really like to play it. And that is Vindication.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you owned Vindication.
I do. I have everything for this game. When they did their last crowdfunding thing for it, I went all in on it. So I've got neoprene and upgraded components and all kinds of stuff for it.
Nice.
I have opened it up. I've organized it. I've looked through it. And it looks like a really incredible game. Here's some things that get me excited about it. It does play 2 to 5 players. Community says it's best at 4. That makes me excited that it's a game that plays best with 4
Higher
people at the
player
table.
count,
Yeah.
yeah.
Playtime is 45 minutes to 150. So it could go on the longer side and probably at a first play would. Manageable time. The weight of 3.1. So just a good mid-weight. 7.8 overall rating. And then its overall rank, 273. So this is a good game. Orange Nebula, I think, does really good stuff. And it's just one we need to pull off the shelf and get played.
Awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Sounds worth getting to the table.
Yes, it do. I added this to my list, and it's one that Nathan culled. And I
Uh-oh. Means I'm in trouble?
no, you're not in
Okay.
trouble. Oh, maybe you are.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
Let me finish explaining
You
it.
really-
Maybe you
okay.
will be by the time
You
I'm
really
done.
Missed
Like,
an opportunity there.
get myself worked up here. That's Tapestry.
Oh, yeah. No regrets.
I know you didn't care for this game. I actually really kind of enjoyed it.
No, I really did enjoy it.
I'm
until
mad at you because
played
I
with-
want to try it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it until I played with Dave and Richie, and then I was just like, just don't want to take that kind of defeat over and over and over again.
But then you forgot that you've got this other friend, Doug, who you could have played with and had a really
you
great
been
time.
around more earlier.
More earlier.
Was this really that long ago?
When
it was a couple years ago.
Tapestry?
Yeah,
I was around a couple years ago. I've been here for a long
It
time.
was before you were
it was right before you joined the group. Is when Nathan
19.
decided to get rid of it.
Wow. Maybe you should rebuy it.
Okay.
It's a great game. It's one that I guess that would be my one concern with picking it up is getting it to the table. But if Nathan's willing to play it as long as the right people are to the table, then maybe and sounds like Doug, you'd be on board.
I just want to try it.
It's a great game. It really is a very good game. There's a lot going on with it. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot of different avenues to score points and to try to gain victory. Pull your buildings off the board and build your buildings on your own little map, trying to score points that way. Getting the big buildings out there for everyone to build is kind of neat. And then you have the main board that you're trying to place your people on. Anyway, there's a lot going on in the game. The tech tracks on the 4 sides of the board also. I guess they're not really there's one technology track, but there's different tracks that you can go up to gain different benefits.
They're all 3 tech tracks but
great.
one of them is technology and
yeah.
civilization and culture and
It's a really fun game. There's a lot of stuff to balance out in it. It's a fun puzzle to solve.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's one of those games that I played, told Dave you couldn't do something, and he's like, oh yeah? Let me ruin the game for you. And he did.
Fun.
I thought it was just because he called it Tapestry.
It's good to have friends.
Had to remind me of that.
So one of them on this list that I'm really excited about because it just happens to be set up on the table right over there
Yes.
is Voidfall that I'm still waiting to get played.
I am too.
You can't buy these big epic games that I'm super excited about and not play them, Nathan.
Well, apparently I can and do. But I'm getting much closer to getting that off of the shelf of shame and onto the get it gamed. I don't know if that's a phrase, but it totally is now.
The Get It Gamed shelf?
The get it gamed shelf, yes. This game has pretty high complexity. It's a 4.67, I believe, if I recall correctly, on BGG.
A lot going on.
I don't think the gameplay itself is going to be very complex. I mean, it's going to be more complex, but I don't think it's going to be overly complex. But I think you're going to have such a variety in the way the factions play. The complexity is going to show up when you're comparing to how the factions play, and they each play differently. That is where the tire hits the road. What's that phrase?
Where the rubber hits the road.
That's where the rubber hits the road. It makes the game more complex. There's going to be a lot that I really like about this game, and I'm hoping that it doesn't have downtime too much that makes me want to poke somebody in the eye.
So it sounds like this is going to be a fairly complex teach if every faction plays differently.
Yeah, it's going to be one that probably is just the four of us.
Yeah. So you have two very heavy games on your list. One of them is on mine as well, and the second one is On Mars, which is even heavier than Voidfall, slightly.
Yeah.
Which I think this game looks awesome. I really do. It looks really good.
When it first came out, I was way excited about it. One of our original hosts, Brent Mayer, was read the rules, and Brent is a very efficient rule reader, digester, and regurgitator. He started it and then said, nope, I'm not going to do this.
Wow.
Well, that means I'm not going to do it. So,
Well,
On Mars might as well be on Mars.
it's a 4.67.
Yeah, 4.67.
And this is a Lacerda game.
Well,
So
hopefully it doesn't have the brokenness that Kanban has.
Yeah. Went to a funeral. Funeral was at this church. On the coat rack shelf was a copy of On Mars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like somebody had a different event or something and had left it there. Thought about picking it up, but I was like, well, it's not mine. Can't take it.
And well, I'm glad you didn't steal the game, Nathan. Good job.
But then I got thinking afterwards as I was driving back home, I was like, maybe somebody didn't want that. And they were just saying, I don't want this game anymore. Take it. So I missed my opportunity. But I have to, hopefully there's another funeral there and it's still there.
Okay. Maybe it was part of the estate.
Oh,
you know what?
right.
Someone's gonna want this.
Yeah. But no, I had a lot of interest in On Mars.
It has an 8.2 with an overall rank of 53. This is a top 100 game. Really well ranked. Yeah, it's heavy, but a lot of people love it.
It looks great. It really does.
13,000 ratings.
Lots of things for it, but somebody else has got to read the rules.
Okay, I'll do it.
Art by Ian O'Toole. I'm all about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right. Then you'll get Dave play with you, and I'll never play that game ever.
No, we'll just play just the four of us. We'll try it out.
Just the four
Just
of
the four
us.
of us.
Okay.
Yay. All right, Sierra, what have you got?
Well, I know Doug has talked about this one a lot. It's Scythe, and I think this one is one that sounds really cool, and I'd really like to play.
Great. Let's get it out. Let's do it. I'm always wanting to play Scythe. Always.
Yes, that's two of us that haven't played it at this current table right now, and one that had a bad experience. So
Moves me away.
we need to play this.
I do just want to clarify. It was only a bad experience because of the person he was sitting by, not because the game was a bad experience.
Yeah.
Because
no.
he was doing everything you wanted to do before you could do it.
Every single thing I wanted to do. Richie's like, oh, hey, I'll do that first.
It sounds like Maracaibo when someone takes the quests before Nathan.
Kind of. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to bring up Maracaibo one more time.
Thank you.
You know, you keep saying one more time.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
People don't realize this, but in order for Nathan to have a good time at a competitive game, people need to get out of his way.
That's right. I'll play it solo, dang it.
So one that is on this list that I want to try is Hive Pocket. It's rated higher than Hive. I've not played Hive either.
Really?
No.
Doug doesn't like playing Hive with me anymore.
I think Hive is a fine game, and after like 40 plays of it, I just got burned out.
It was only 55.
Wow.
That's all.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, Hive's good. It's fine. It's kind of, I actually would compare it to sort of a chess light kind of thing. You just have all these little pieces.
Kind of the same
and
feels, yeah.
they're bugs instead of like pawns, castles, rooks, whatever. And you play them out in the hex grid, and they each have a different ability, move in a different way, move them into position to capture the opponent's queen, right? Very chess-like. There's a lot of parallels between Hive and chess. For me, it just got to where those games were getting fairly rote, kind of doing the same stuff.
Kind of like chess.
It's a good game though. I wouldn't scare you off of it.
So how does Hive differ from Hive Pocket? Because Hive Pocket is just size.
Yeah. Yeah, any version of Hive, though, I would totally suggest that you play with the pill bug and the mosquito.
Well, it says that Hive Carbon and Hive Pocket include the mosquito and ladybug expansions.
There you go. I have Hive Carbons over there. I have Hive over there. I have Hive Pocket over there.
Oh, you've got everything.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, I need to play this. I don't know if it's one that my wife would enjoy or not. I need to try it to see if it is something she would like. It honestly sounds like something Caden would love. He's been way into chess lately. So.
Yeah, I think Caden would definitely like it. I don't know how Sierra would like it. If it's
Sierra's right here. You can ask her.
Maybe. But let's talk about Sabrina instead.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know how Sabrina would like it for sure or not. But,
yeah, if it's like chess, she may not.
But it's... My wife doesn't like it. And probably the same reason Doug doesn't like it. It just got worn out on her.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
James Clark is a big chess fan, and so he loves it. Jody was very excited to try something new. And then after a couple of games said, yep, nope, not for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so it's a mixed bag. Sounds
it is
like.
a mixed bag. And
but one you should definitely try once it's
sure.
fast. You can play it really fast. It doesn't have a huge cognitive load.
Okay. Nice.
If we don't play it before BGG, we'll play it on the plane. We'll take Hive Pocket and play it on the plane.
Sounds amazing.
That way Sierra won't play it.
Wow. Okay.
So one that I know you got to play, Andy, that I am dying to try is Mage Knight.
Yes, I got to try Mage Knight out at SaltCon Summer. I had heard a ton about Mage Knight. My cousin Dennis, it was one of his favorite games for a long time, honestly. Wanted to try. I'm glad I got a chance to play it 2-player. I don't know if I would have liked it quite so much with more than 2 players, just because of downtime, and it's a long game anyway. With 3 players even, I think it would have been too long for me.
So I have Mage Knight, and I also have Star Trek Frontiers. Star Trek Frontiers, which is re-implementation. I haven't played either of them. I would like to try them.
A lot of fun. I think you would enjoy it actually as a 2-player game. I think you would really have fun with it.
I have Mage Knight the Ultimate Edition, but it's still in shrink. It's actually one that I won. No, that's not the right way of saying it. I had amassed enough points on a particular website, and it was one of the options that I could spend those points on. So I got it for free, I guess I should say. I didn't win it, but I got it for free. It's been sitting there. It's still in shrink. It's one that I really want to play. I know that it's really popular with the solo game community.
Oh, really?
People who are really into playing solo at the table love Mage Knight. Plays really well.
I could
as a
see
solo
that.
experience.
I'm not a huge solo game player.
I'm not either, which is why I was curious about your experience at 2 players.
I liked it. I thought it was great at 2 players. Like I said, I wouldn't go 3.
Okay. So that's one we probably need to bust out.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I got 2 more on my list. War Chest, a game that appeals to me, and I think I'd like to pick it up at some point.
Is it because of the art, Nathan? Did the art just draw you right in?
No, not really. It's kind of bland.
It is blah.
It's very
It's an old game, though.
Both the last 2 games I want to talk about are the artwork on them is really pretty blah. But this one, both the box art and the components are pretty blah. It's a bag building game and a war battle game. So you're drawing your tokens out of your bag, trying to make the best of what you draw out of, I believe it's 3 tokens that you're going to draw out. Has a little bit of area control in it. I'm not sure how much of an element that is. I know that frightens part of our group. I mean, as long as it's not at all, take that. But I also believe this is a best at 2-player game. It goes 2 to 4, but best at 2. When it's just a 2-player game, the area control in that doesn't feel as getting ganged up on.
Yeah.
Provides some opportunity to shine there. And so I am very much looking forward to giving that a shot. The last one, cover art is really cool, Doug. And this is a game that I think appeals to both you and I. And this is Samurai. It's an older game, 1998, and the artwork looks like it's from 1998. Kind of reminds me of Carlos Magnus. I really want you to like this game, but you didn't like Carlos Magnus. But this is Rainer Knizia game.
No, I didn't.
Set in medieval Japan. Players are competing for favor of 3 factions, the samurai, the peasants, and the priests. And you're trying to manage all that production. You look at the board, it is...
Yeah, it looks pretty lackluster for sure.
It is pretty bland. Has a rank overall, 274. So it does have some appeal, and it has some love. And if I could find a copy that's not $150, I would definitely consider looking at it. So, but it does look pretty cool. Fantasy Flight has an updated version of it, so maybe...
nice. If Fantasy Flight did it, then it's probably got great artwork because they do a good job.
Yeah, I don't know.
At least typically they do.
No, you're absolutely right. Yes, I'm not denying that at all.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at some of the pictures here, and all the pictures look
Blah.
bland. Yeah.
That's too bad.
So, but anyways, the idea of this game sounds pretty cool. Highly rated. It only goes up to 60 minutes.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a very nice midweight game. This is one I would very much love to try. So maybe when we're at BGG, we can see if this is in the library.
Give it a shot.
Yep.
Sure. All right, the last one I want to talk about on my list is Praga Capu Regni. However you pronounce that.
Praga Caput Regni.
Wow. Say it again.
Praga Caput Regni.
Wow, that's so good. Anyway, this looks awesome. It's an action selection game. Component's actually kind of cool. So there's a air quotes action crane that you are placing your tokens on to take actions, and that crane is going to be moving around, which will adjust the cost of those actions. There's going to be a lot of planning involved so that you can take your actions in a timely manner to gain synergies with those carefully timed actions. Trying to build Prague is really the theme of the game. You're using your wealth and joining in the construction and trying to gain favor of the king. It looks cool. Components look really awesome. I probably would want to watch a how-to-play video to see if it's really something I want to pick up, but just by looking at it, seeing the theme and kind of how it plays, it looks like it might be something up my alley.
So funny story. It's a short story.
Is it?
I bought this game.
You did?
And then I sold it.
Did you play it?
No. I bought it and sold it while it was still in the shrink.
Way to go, Nathan.
You and Nathan.
It was while I was going through one of my cold games I don't think I'm ever going to get to phase. So I wasn't gumming up my shelf of shame.
I mean, you didn't buy 2 copies of it, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm not as bad as Nathan.
Okay.
Like, I didn't buy 2 copies with all the expansions and deluxe components. No.
Okay.
No.
You could have made somebody's day.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, it looks good. So I can see why you bought it initially. It's just a bummer that you didn't get a chance to play it.
Yeah. I kind of regret not leaving this one on the shelf. Even if it was just collecting dust still, it's kind of one I want to get to eventually as well.
Yeah, it looks good.
The last one on my list is Keyflower. I don't know if any of you guys have played this one or...
I haven't played it, but I was really interested in this one too.
Takes place over virtually 4 years in this key land, and you're managing your resources and your people. There are more workers coming in at certain times during the year and other times where you aren't getting any other workers, different places you can go to. I think it seems really cool, and I'd like to try it.
I would like to try it too. There was a lot of appeal for this for me too, and it almost made my list. I very much would like to give this a shot.
Yeah, it looks good.
Anything else?
Nope, I think I've covered the ones that I want to. Out of the 50 games here, we've played a lot of these. We've talked about some of them before as well. I think that this is a good smattering of games that like to get these to the table.
A lot that we own
awesome.
that we haven't played and need to. I think we've discussed some pretty awesome games, or potentially some amazing games anyway.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So
all right. So how do you guys feel about reviewing this list this way as opposed to just going over games that we don't own, and why not?
Well, I think it's great because we found ourselves talking about the same games over and over again.
Gives us a way to bring up some other games.
And I think it's putting a little bit of pressure on us to get some games played that have not been played in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yep.
right?
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, that will wrap us up. So until next time.
We'll see you finding things that you may want to acquire. Maybe multiple copies of it so you can call it later at the game table.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com. facebook.com/MeepleNation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, MeepleNation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of Werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com/Meeple_nation. Or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, MeepleNation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.